Oh hi again. My channel's not dead, but almost. More on that later. And neither am I. So welcome back to Tuesday Teaching. It comes out on a day that also starts with a T. Close enough, right? And today we'll be talking about the human experiences in the HSC Common Module Texts and Human Experiences. So before we start, a bit of story time. All these videos have been a bit delayed recently because I was a bit sick, but this particular one is delayed for a completely different and very strange reason. So I woke up on Tuesday to this email. In the inbox of the email address I set up for this channel, the wording here makes it sound like I've done something terrible. So I thought, quick, I better go hide all of my and and that last one was someone who hooks to keep this PG rated. So anyway, even though my channel hasn't exactly been a runaway success, and I've never really built it to get a massive audience, but the fact that I already had subscribers from my students and some videos made me very reluctant to just give it up. So I went ahead and hit that restore button and had a very lovely chat to a member of the Google customer support team. Turns out the issue actually comes from me trying to be cool with all of my media references and all the clips I have been using to achieve that. And even though I tried my best to have all the links in the description and proper attribution, I still got in trouble for the relatively high number of copyright claims on my videos in a relatively short period. So I explained to the customer service representative that I had no intention of monetizing any of these videos, let alone the copyright claimed ones. And I started this whole project as a bit of a goof. Although secretly I did want to build a little YouTube community of my Avenue tutoring students, which you can help out with by liking, commenting, and subscribing. And after showing her some more supporting documentation, my account was restored. At least if this video successfully goes up. So this could potentially be a lesson to the rest of you if you have to submit a YouTube video for school assessment, which does get done, and your video contains copyrighted source material. Just make sure you attribute it correctly with links to the original creator as well as disclaimers that you do not own the content. Otherwise, you might get your whole email account banned. Anyway, enough story time, have to getting a little bit of actual teaching. So today we are looking at this advertisement that I saw during the Olympic coverage.
What matters most to you? Is it the place you call home? Or a life on the land? Is it looking after your best worker? Or the business you've put everything into? Or a game that brings us together? What is money for? If not for this?
NAB. More than money.
So in addition to being an innocently sweet and charming ad, what I couldn't help but notice was that it had a lot of human experiences as well as visual techniques. So I thought I would actually break this down as if it was an assigned text. Even though the chance of any current HSC students getting a video text is exactly zero because the HSC is not completed on computers. But hey, maybe someday for all you future HSC candidates, they will move the exam to a computer, which is actually the better way of doing it, right? So the ad visually represents individual and collective human experiences of home, work, entertainment, and family in pretty much a straightforward and literal way. And due to the fact that none of them apply to the little girl looking through the window, they are all pretty much irrelevant for an exploration of daily life. The different scenes or vignettes that represent each of these experiences is shown from a high angle and a large distance to show how far away and a departure they are from regular life and pretty much irrelevant to the ordinary individual. The transitioning from one scene to the next in a confined space is pretty much done for convenience, and the rhetorical question at the end is used because the girl is so young and pretty much has no idea what's going on in front of her. Yes, troll version disclaimer and all that. I'm keeping these progressively shorter so as not to waste too much of your time before I get to the actual analysis. But in case you were wondering, those are all deliberately wrong, and the fib indicator word for this time was the phrase pretty much, which should never make its way into your answer anyway. That is a terrible weasel word. Alright, on to the actual analysis. This ad caught my eye, so much so that I looked it up on YouTube. because it actually does contain a lot of literary and visual techniques in its representation of the human experience. Its separate vignettes, which, even though each only feature a single individual, all serve as metaphors for larger shared aspects of the human experience. In relation to camera angles and framing, the high angle and long distance shot creates the mood of a detached third person perspective as the subjects carry on with their regular lives, unaware of the documentary style observer. The movement between one vignette and the next within a confined space creates the sense of unity as these separate aspects of life come together to create a unified daily life experience. The use of rhetorical questioning to separate each part of the narrator's list reaffirms the notion that each separate area of life being listed are equal in their importance, and each hold varying values in different lives. In the ad's conclusion, the use of the direct gaze, as well as cutting back to the reaction of the narrator, creates a personal and emotional connection, as well as broadening the perspective to be applicable to the viewers and indeed all society's human experiences. That's about it for that one. A kind of a sad reflection on my teacher brain that I can watch an ad during the Olympics and immediately start breaking it down human experiences styles. Just some overall tips for short answer for this section before I go. Make sure in your first sentence you answer the question, clearly identify a human experience, and if possible, categorize it into individual or collective. And every one of your sentences after that, of which there should be the same number as the number of marks in the question, should pick out a specific visual or textual technique and break it down into the tried and true technique, evidence, effect packages you have been doing for most of your high school lives. When you do write these packages, the most important part is actually the effect. Not every sentence has a technique in it, although every visual element you pick out should really have one. Regardless, the effect is still the key part, and when you write effects, make sure you write them from the composer side, which is what the author or director or poet or artist was trying to achieve, as well as the responder side, which is what the viewer or reader or audience can take away from the text, which usually it takes the form of either emotional impact or lesson learned. Good luck to all the Year 12 students who are currently preparing for the trials. A lot of them are pushed back, but I'm pretty sure all of them are still happening. So that means you are probably swimming knee deep in these practice questions by now. If you have any specific questions about any text or whether or not your answer satisfies the marking criteria, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll be happy to give you some feedback, criticism, or areas for improvement. This has been Tuesday teaching. There will also be the Thursday Tech Short today as well. Hoping a double upload will catch me up to my very ambitious upload schedule. I'll see you on Saturday for some more poor tunes. Until then, keep learning and take care.